It's the way that nobody is making me do this but myself. But we're going to do it because I want to uphold some writing goals this year. Hi, hello, how are you? If you're new here, I'm Caitlin. I'm a writer documenting my entire process to becoming a published author, and I just finished writing the very first draft of my very first book ever. If you like My Lady Jane or Renegade Nell, you might like my novel Sir Callan Gray's Final Lament. It's a soft fantasy that follows a disgraced medieval knight and the time-traveling journalist who is trying to uncover the truth behind his exiling. I wrote Project Lament in 30 days during the November drafting challenge, and my big goal for this year, besides doing the challenge again, is to complete the first round of revisions. Around this time last year, I decided to quit my addiction to TikTok, and honestly, I have not had the itch to download it since, but I do think part of that is because I've replaced it with a little less addicting form of doom scrolling on Instagram, which I recently deleted as well. So hopefully my numbers go down if I ever want to do this challenge again. For this challenge, I am only focusing on my phone's screen time report, because I do use my laptop a lot for work with things like content creation and book cover design, which I'm going to do a little shameless self-plug here. My books are open for 2025, so if you write a book this year and want to get it printed like all the cool girls, you should definitely check the link in my description to hire me on Contra. I specialize in design for indie authors, and something that's cool that I do that most designers don't is I only charge a one-time fee. So whether or not you sell 100 copies or 1 million, you'll only have to pay for your cover once, because I don't think you should sacrifice on a beautiful cover for affordability. Also, full disclosure, I'm going to be doing this based on the subcategory of socials alone. When I initially set out to do this challenge, I thought that my screen time would be way higher on things like socials and my Libby app, considering I listen to an audiobook every night for at least 30 minutes, but it turns out I'm pretty boring, and I spend most of my time on messages and emails. Today is Monday, day one of the challenge, and we're actually starting off pretty tame with 53 minutes, which is not an unusual writing session for me. I actually have the day off today, and in addition to finishing my painting, which that video should already be out by the time you're watching this, so definitely go check it out. But I've also been itching to go to Barnes & Noble, so I'm just going to pack my laptop and maybe do some writing sprints while I'm there. Okie dokie, let's go get some revising done. I've decided that I'm actually kind of hungry, so we're gonna go to the Panera that's just a few minutes away, and I'm probably going to FaceTime Brielle and do some writing sprints. I'm back home now, as you can tell, and Brielle and I are overachievers. We ended up doing 2 sprints, and the total ended up being around an hour and 10 minutes. So technically, I don't have to do any more revising tonight, which is good because I do want to finish this painting. But Brielle is going to go live tonight, so I am probably going to pop in there and do even more writing tonight. Giving advice on revising is really hard because everything is dependent on what you're working on and basically your own process, and there's not really a one size fits all. So revising is hard in the sense that it can feel very lonely. Hello, it's Tuesday. Sorry if this is a jarring cut, but I realized that the rambling that I was doing yesterday on revising just was not coming out quite right. So let's start over. There seems to be a lot of content on drafting, which I understand because word counts are flashy and it's really fun to watch other writers solve problems and plot holes or have their really big breakthrough moments. But the same doesn't seem to be true about revising. My friend Ande just posted a vlog talking about the struggles of how to answer the question of, so how's revising going? And all she can say is, still revising. And as I said earlier, it's all dependent on you as a writer. When I was drafting, I had to essentially build the framework for each and every scene. I had to pick my characters and block their movements, which was fun, but now that that's all done, I am free to play around, not only in the world, but in my characters' heads. I found that I was really focused on what needed to happen to progress the plot, that only a bit of who they truly were was actually shining through. Revising has been really fun in the sense that I get to slow scenes down and build them up and just really find out who my characters are. I think a lot of people can actually get stuck in revising without realizing it, especially in those early stages of the draft. Some of us constantly reread these same scenes over and over and make minor tweaks, and revising can feel very similar to that, except now I have an entire book to comb through, but it's really scratching that itch that I had to stop when I was drafting, or else I never would have finished something to completion. If this is your first time revising, I would try to not let the scale of things intimidate you. And something that I've talked about with my fellow writers is that no matter what you change in the draft, nothing is permanent. You can always go back, you can always change something, go in a different direction. You really just have to see what sticks. And on the logistics side of things, I found that talking through it is really beneficial. It doesn't have to be anyone but myself, but the act of saying things aloud makes them seem a little less daunting. Alternatively, I'll do a brain dump where I'll open a blank document in a session and just stream of consciousness write, what if this happened, or what if this happened, or what if I changed this? And that usually does the trick for solving problems. As long as we're talking about logistics, I do want to do a really quick Scrivener walkthrough. I watched some tutorials yesterday and spent a crazy amount of time customizing things. I realized that there are a lot of features that I have not been utilizing that would be perfect for this project. So let's dive into that a bit too, and I promise I will be doing some writing sprints after this. I spent the entire morning finishing my painting, and then I had to go to work. I ended up doing a 25-minute sprint on my break, so technically I only have 18 minutes left tonight, which seems very, very doable. So in an attempt not to spoil anything, I did create what is called the example folder, and that is going to act as our second draft. So when I am working, I will go into my folder, and I actually have each chapter labeled in a separate folder, and I changed the icons to symbolize what POV we are in. So the author has this little nib, and then Callan has the sword. In order to change the icons, you actually just right click, go down to change icon, and then up here you can do different things. I just selected icon from text and then used the emoji that I wanted. This also corresponds to my Notion template, which is super great. Something else that I've changed is when you right click on a folder, you can actually see what is called the label and the status. Now, the status is tricky because there's not a very visual cue other than when you are in your document. For instance, if I were to change this to do, you'll notice that the to-do down here has changed. Now, I still am using the status for my chapters. However, what I've done that I think is more visually helpful is that I've gone into label, and from here you can actually hit edit, and I've made new labels. I've also changed the colors a little bit so that it fits a little bit better for what I need, and then I've created all of these labels. Now, if I go into here, you'll notice that my chapter is now labeled. Something else that was really helpful to find is the view mode. So I know that there was different ways to look at things, but what I didn't realize is that over here in the outliner mode, you can actually see, so if I click on my draft 2, I can see every single folder as well as each chapter, as well as the labels, the status, the section type. This is helpful because I can see if things are chapters versus scenes. I don't write in scenes, but I know a lot of people do, so that could be really helpful. What I also love about this is that you have your total target versus total words versus total progress. So if I wanted the author's point of view to be 300, I could set that in here. Targets is super helpful for that. You can see that there is the manuscript, your target, session target will show you how many words you wrote that day. You can also change it to chapters or pages, which I find super cool. Something else that I discovered that I really like, and most people already know about the corkboard view, but something I didn't know is that in the bottom here you can actually change it to corkboard freeform. So now I am free to move all of these around how I please and choose. This has been really helpful for separating visually the author's point of view versus Callan's. Something else that you can do, which this doesn't really make sense for me, but if I had say 3 or more points of view, you can actually toggle the timeline view, and this will show you whose chapters are what. So now that is labeled as whatever the red label would be for you. And finally, again, more on the logistic side of things, when I am revising, I will utilize the double page mode. So in order to do that, you just toggle this on, and then I will have draft 1 over here and then draft 2 over here in this window. So I will be able to see everything that I had currently written and then everything that I am working on. Usually what I'm doing is I'm reading line by line and I'm copying, pasting what I think works, and then I'm writing what I think needs to be embellished or changed, or finding things that maybe Callan says that I'm like, hey, actually you wouldn't say it like that. So I'm just changing those things. It's been super helpful to be able to view things side by side like this. So yeah, that is my Scrivener walkthrough. I hope you can take anything from this that will help you in your revising journey. Alrighty, let's get those final words in for today. Hi, it's me from the future. I'm currently working on the video, and I realized that my Wednesday update ended up recording in slow motion, which was really fun because I had no idea that my camera did that, but now I do. What's also really fun about this is the fact that I just filmed a 9-minute update and the audio was off. So really fun. We're gonna do this again. Wednesday's time was 1 hour and 17 minutes, and it was actually really fun because I went live on Brielle's channel that night and I was super nervous. You can probably tell. It was really weird being on the other side of things. I think I was most scared that my mic was going to be left on and I was going to just be making a lot of noise and I wouldn't know and everyone would be making fun of me. Thankfully that didn't happen. We ended up writing for about 55 minutes total, and then I did another 25-minute sprint afterwards just to hit the rest of that goal. Today is Thursday and the total time needed for today is 1 hour and 30 minutes. Brielle and I had another FaceTime writing session and we ended up writing for 1 hour, which was super productive. I was telling the stream last night that I was having a little trouble on the scene that I was working on because it seemed like maybe one of the characters' roles wasn't as clear as I thought it was, so I was just trying to fix that a little bit, and I also realized that this would be a really good place to add in some world building and show kind of the hostility that the town might have for the king. And so that's what I was working on this morning, and it was a lot harder than I thought to make that subtle. So yeah, anyways, the scene is done. I'm feeling good about it, and I do still have 30 more minutes of writing to do tonight, and it is 9:45. So I'm going to pause editing here and I'm going to do another 30-minute sprint and then I'm gonna go to bed. Tomorrow might be a little tricky. It's only 58 minutes, but I am meeting a friend halfway for lunch, and so that's gonna be the majority of the afternoon, and then I have to be back here for babysitting at 5. So that's gonna be the evening. So hopefully I can get in some good writing in the morning so that I don't have to write afterwards. Okie dokie, let's keep going. Let's keep chugging along. update. I just met my friend for lunch. We had such a good time catching up. I'm on my way home now because I do have to babysit. I did stop at Dutch because I'm just a little bit early, so hopefully this takes just a little bit of time. So yeah, I did end up writing with Brielle this morning. We actually did about an hour and 15 minutes, so again, overachievers. Hi. We are having a lot of fun technical difficulties this week, it would seem. So I filmed an update on Sunday, letting you guys know that I didn't write on Saturday. It was the first day that I didn't complete the challenge, and I was feeling really, really bad about it. But I had to remind myself that writing every single day for a week is really hard. And Saturday was also the longest of the writing time. I had to write for 2 hours and 12 minutes. I felt really inspired when I woke up, and then we got struck with just like an impromptu snowstorm. So I had to cancel my writing group, which would have helped me get a lot of words in, but then that was canceled. So then I ended up finding a really great job, and I spent the rest of the day working on my application and my resume and getting everything just kind of polished up for that. I didn't get home until like probably 10:30, and I just did not want to stay up for another 2 hours and 12 minutes to write. So I decided that I was going to do Sunday, and then on Monday, so yesterday, I ended up completing the 2 hours and 12 minutes that I missed on Saturday. So yeah, here's the footage from that, and I will see you back here in like 2 minutes for my final thoughts. Super quick update. The girls and I wrote for 30 minutes and I managed to get through 670 words of revision. I still have 28 minutes to go, so I'm actually gonna go get in bed and set a 28-minute timer and revise. It's already 10 o'clock. This is such a fun challenge. Okay. Good morning. It is Monday. It is way too cold to be out here today. And we're fogged. Okay, I have a work meeting today, and then I plan on going to Panera and writing for the 2 hours and 12 minutes that I missed on Saturday. So let's go do that. I'm back. So, my final thoughts on this challenge. Like I said earlier, writing every single day is really hard. I think this challenge has been really great in the sense that I've been building better habits, which was kind of the whole goal of this. I think it was also really cool in the sense that I've since built a really encouraging group chat with Brielle and Ande, and we message each other every single day and just kind of talk about accountability, and we're here for support for each other and our work, and that aspect has been really, really cool. As far as screen time goes, I think that it's really, really easy to get sucked into things and not realize just how much time you're wasting, and then when you sit and you really focus on exerting that energy creatively, it's a little bit more exhausting. This week was also really helpful in the sense that since I've deleted Instagram, I actually haven't wanted to get on social media. There are a few points throughout the day where I'm like, oh man, I wish I could waste a few seconds here and there, but overall, I have just not been itching for it, which I think is really, really great. If I can put this creative energy into things, then like, I'm gonna be unstoppable. Okie dokie, that is gonna be it for me for today. I hope you guys liked this video. I'm sorry that it was so chaotic and we had so many problems, but we persevered. If you had fun, please consider liking and subscribing. I do a lot of fun stuff over here in my little corner of the internet. And if you want to see even more of me, you can check the link in my description for my author website, newsletter, lit mag, book cover design services, all the fun things. If you are intrigued by my project, I am going to be doing some beta reader open calls probably in the next couple of months once this second draft is officially done, so definitely subscribe to my newsletter. And if you want to, you can support me directly on Ko-fi by buying me a coffee, because heaven knows I'm going to need a lot of energy to finish this project. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Happy writing.